Alright, hello all you crazy people out there, my name is Dragonite, and welcome back to Harvest December. As soon as the lunch bell rang, I stood up and began moving on autopilot. It was routine for me to push our desks together to form a banquet table before Mizuho and the others came with their lunch. "I'll help," Ao offered. It wasn't often that she did. With one small smile from her, the students around us quickly put their textbooks away so we could use their desks. "You're early today. I just attended classes nearby. I was just on my way back." "Thanks. Our first time doing this with each other. I have a feeling you're trying to work some innuendo in there." Even so, we managed to get the job done in time. "Hey, I've been meaning to ask, but how's your other wife doing?" Mizuho asked as she opened the lid of her bento box. "You're asking about Shiro-sama? We haven't seen her for a while. I was just wondering how she was." She's gone to call her Samba." "Samba? Why are you gyrating like that? That's inappropriate." "She called me inappropriate. I'm sure it has nothing to do with dance. What about the Samba?" "I'm speaking of the midwife." Oh, it's an old term. Now you know. Shiro-sama and I go to Dr. Manaka for regular checkups, but apparently this midwife is the person that helped her with Ao." "Me? That's over 100 years ago." Ao paused, eating her sandwich. "Then I suppose this midwife is a god too. I have the Towada hospital to help me, but since this child is a gift from God, I suppose we should ask for her advice as well." Are you saying that this child may not be human?" It was something we had avoided talking about. Yuki nodded. "I thought it might be better to learn the differences in childbirth just in case." "Aren't you worried?" I asked. "This is nothing for you to worry about. This is our child. You have to say anything about that?" "No, nothing. What was there to say?" I returned to eating the rest of my lunch, partly to leave the conversation. "Masaki-kun! Hit!" The familiar voices caught me off guard. I jumped in my seat and turned around to face Yukari. "Have you started lunch already? Are you joining us, Nakahira-san? Please come with me." "Where to?" I had other questions too. Before I could ask, she came and pulled me out of my seat. Nakahira-san? We've got beautiful weather today. Let's go have lunch outside." Unlike everyone else, I don't have much time left with you. She kept pulling me away. I couldn't react quickly enough. Looking back, I saw that Mizuho and Kohai were just as stunned as I was. "See you later," I called out. I had work at Sane in the evening, so I waved at Kohai and Sane. But only Ao waved back. That's not very nice. What was that? How rude. Rude, is that it? Sane, what are you trying to say? She just came around and stole him away. They have a promise. I suppose that can't be helped. Do you realize Do you realize that you have been behaving weirdly lately? Kohai, you think so too? Yeah. If you were your usual self, Yuki, you wouldn't have been after those two with the Kubikirimaru. And they get it bad. What kind of monster do you think I am? But I admit, I understand what you mean, and I don't feel myself either. A Towada woman would never let any other girl disrespect her man that way. But you let them go scot-free. Or rather, you just watched and did nothing at all." Ow. Ao Tagami met Yuki's eyes with a smile. "Yuki, give me your impression of Masaki right now. He looks like he's having fun. Is that it? He only looks like he's having fun. He's not. So you let them go because you know Masaki is pretending and you feel sorry for Yukari." "Maybe, but that's just my impression from what I pick up externally. To be honest, I have no idea what Masaki feels about the situation." "You're right." Ao's smile vanished. Everybody returned to eating their lunch. It's really hard to walk this way. I felt uncomfortable under everybody's prying eyes. "You're supposed to make me cry a lot, remember? Especially when Yukari was pressing up against my arm, hugging it tightly." "Make her cry?" "A lot, too. There's not going to be a third pregnancy, is there? In the near future, maybe?" I could hear gossip spreading like wildfire. This was a bad day. Every day is a bad day for Masaki, alright? "Where are we going today?" She spoke as if it was decided we would walk home together after school. She tightened her grip on my arm further. I should be used to this by now. Used to what? Having my arm almost broken. I'm just a girl, I can't be that bad. My morals are breaking too from what softness I felt through my arm. "I think I want to go to the bookshop." "You want to buy me some magazines?" "Yeah, there's a new issue out for Maternity Monthly Maternity. Maternity. This month has a feature on food for pregnant mothers. I've got to read that." EQ. Forget vocabulary words. Can I have a pronunciation guide? "What do you mean? I thought Ikuji means willpower or pride or something like that." Nashi means don't have, which means you're saying I'm a spineless, guiltless person. It also means that you're slack or a sissy. Look it up in the dictionary. Slack? But I'm giving it all to collect the right information to be prepared. And you're being a slack boyfriend, speaking about other girls and buying books to care for them. I almost felt as if I was speaking with Yuki. Her accusations were direct. What can I do to make you stop? We were walking at an excruciatingly slow pace because we were trying to match each other's pace. Can't you just think of me while we're together? She breathed. She was getting on my nerves. Only now? I could say anything now and crush her entirely. I felt aggressive. She was pretty, had a loving family, and she got jealous like any other girl. Her ups and downs were centered around me. The total opposite of Yuki and Shiro. So... Well then, if I offend you or behave in a manner that you don't like, I would appreciate it if you gave me some constructive criticism. You want me to train you the way I like? She laughed softly. But I don't have the time. She dropped her gaze to her toes. Why so? That was really short. That was even shorter than the last one. I'm gonna go on. I lifted my head from my notebook to notice the sky had gone dark outside the window. But of course! I shook my tired wrist, my hand still holding the mechanical pencil. I turned to the clock to find I had been studying for 3 hours straight, ever since I got home. Last month had been during summer holidays. I had nothing at all. A month had already passed since the happenings at Rokushiki Island. And during that month, the babies had grown considerably inside Yuki and Shiro. I tidied up my desk and opened the brown paper bag from the bookshop. The problem is that I don't have any hands-on practice. I grumbled as I opened the new baby book written for new dads. Everyone in town knew about the children, and they took to the news quite easily. The staff in the bookshop even began reserving copies of baby magazines for me without my asking. I flipped a page. I accumulated more knowledge. I wish I could practice some of this before the real thing. That wasn't quite accurate. To speak the truth, I already had some practice before. Yuki and I had a babysitting job in March. During that time, I learned that knowledge would only go so far. A baby was far more trouble and far more complex than I had assumed. Half a year had already passed since then. The summer air was fading. It's so quiet, I said to myself. Yukari was busy after school, so I had walked home alone today, something I hadn't done in a long while. Thanks to that, I was able to buy my baby books in peace. Yukari was insistent that I didn't mention Yuki and Shiro while we were together, that I behaved as if they weren't in my life. I was bewildered by her possessive nature. Had I been the same person I was when I came to Tagami, I would have even despised her. But now, there was an empty void whenever there was silence, the silence I used to just enjoy. There were only a few days left till Yukari left Tagami town. I still maintained my rule that I would keep a certain distance from her. She wanted to fall in love and make many memories to take away with her, and I just wanted to end our relationship peacefully, without much commitment, without too much pain. Our objectives were different. Yet here I was, unable to cut her apart. I had a good idea why I felt this way. Yukari had qualities I appreciated that Shiro and Yuki did not have. She was the opposite of them. Her softness, her girlish nature attracted me. I almost succumbed, but I couldn't. I flipped the page. Apparently, as a baby grows inside its mother's body, it absorbs a lot of calcium, leaving the mother depleted, often stressed and grumpy. Because of that, it was important to give the mother a high diet of calcium. Also, a good spouse should take care to notice the mother's stress levels. What about my stress levels, I wondered. Phew, I sighed. I glanced at the strange but effective medication Dr. Manaka had prescribed for my stomach pains. I was running out of it. I wanted to ask for more, but I knew she was busy checking on Yuki and Shiro. The door opened behind me. I'll be there soon. Where? The kitchen to help cook, of course. Oh, hi. You better check out who you're talking to before you open your mouth. I turned around to see Yuki and Shiro by the door. I was expecting you two. We need to talk. Then why did you keep quiet all this time? I was going to talk to you both once I knew what to say. I guess we were all unsure. I noticed and stood up. I nodded and stood up. I bought you guys drinks, Mommy-chan said Mommy said proudly as she struck a pose. If I remember correctly, we only have tap water in this home. Masaki-chan, just look closely. This isn't any kind of water. It's mineral water imported from overseas. It's supposed to be the hardest water you can find, high in minerals and calcium. Really? Impressed? A little. I didn't think Shiro-chan or Yuki-chan would drink coffee or tea now, and because it's clear mineral water, it makes it difficult for you to drug the drinks to do naughty things. What kind of person do you think I am? I'm your son. And Takagi-san's son. I can't be too careful. Thanks. I had a lot to say, but I swallowed my retort since I knew what she did was a kind gesture. Good luck! She shut the door. Your mom is the weirdest person ever. I'll never understand her. I think so too. Setting down the tray, I began pouring a glass of mineral water for each of us. I took a sip before I lifted my head and began our talk. Well, which part do you want to talk about? The part where we're going to be so forgiving about the situation. Something's wrong, Shiro said. I only behaved that way because I knew how hopeless you are, and because you were only going to date Yukari for a limited period of time. I thought the same too. As long as I waited, she'd leave, and it's extremely strange. Well, it is extremely strange, but it's strange that both of you thought exactly the same way. I know I wouldn't have let her make that deal with you if I was right in my right mind. And if I was myself, I'd have Shiro chew her to pieces. You can do it anyway and save Masaki a couple days of grief. Just a suggestion. Why are we giving way to her? Whatever Yukari wants, there's no reason to let her have her way. I know it's in my head. Her actions are unforgivable, and I have every reason to chastise her, but I can't. The situation is awkward. They both clouded their expressions. I had thought so too. They were too understanding. And here I thought maybe she had some dirt on you. You think the girl is capable of enough to have anything on us? I thought it was logical. When people suppress themselves, they are usually doing so because their moral code requires them to, or because they believe they are threatened. That's how humans think, not gods. But Yuki is human. I can't think of a reason. There is a part of me that worries perhaps she would get hysterics if we didn't let her have what she wants. But that's hardly a threat. In nature, animals often try to intimidate others in a form of protection. Yukari might be in the opposite. She might be the sort that pretends to be weak and in need of protection to avoid being attacked. Maybe Shiro-sama's right, but I don't think she's that manipulative. Masaki, what do you think? What should we do? If neither of you are disturbed by it, and find that you can simply accept her, I say just leave her alone. There's nothing else to do. Just wait till she leaves. Are you saying that because you don't want your time with her to be disturbed? To be honest, I'm concerned of the stress I'm going to undergo if both of you intervene. It's not good for my stomach, but also because I'm just about as clueless as because I'm just as clueless about the situation as you are. What do you mean by that? I can't seem to go against her either, even when I want to. I thought I'd just keep a healthy distance from her for a month and send her away happy, but here I am, giving way to her just like the both of you. That's just your sickness again. You'd be like that with any girl. Isn't that kind of mean? Both of them looked at me with their squat eyes. I didn't have a strong argument. We were all feeling uncomfortable about the situation, but none of us could explain it. The conversation was pointless. I could hear footsteps coming up the stairs. It was about dinner time. Hey, why don't you two stay for dinner, if you don't mind instant food? I have a feeling that I should do something about Mami-chan before I do something about you. Be my guest. The door opened. I'm coming! We've got 2 more people for dinner, by the way, I said as I cleaned up the cups without looking back. What are you doing? I froze. What are you doing here with them behind my back? Yukari looked as if she was about to cry. She hung her head as if she was in pain. Who let you in, by the way? When she did that, I noticed her hair was longer than I thought. I'll have you know, it wasn't Masaki that asked us over. We came to speak with him. I told you I didn't want to feel the presence of your other girlfriends. She looked at Yuki, then Shiro. Both of them didn't say anything. It was so unlike them. You know I don't have much time left. The documents to transfer me to another school have already been submitted. We've already packed most of our things at home. My life here is slowly being cleaned away. I just wanted to have something with you before I left. Is that too much to ask for? I was getting irritated again. Don't you impose your dreams on me. Yukari was vulnerable. There are 2 things you can do to someone vulnerable. Either show mercy or attack. I wasn't anybody merciful. I was tempted to choose to hurt her. I wanted to find the deepest cuts she had and stretch them wide open. I couldn't believe how aggressive I was being. I was always the one protecting myself, defending. But now I felt like cutting Yukari away and tossing her aside like nothing at all. This time I was the aggressor. I opened my mouth to speak. Opening your eyes to speak would be something else. This is a misunderstanding, Yuki spoke before I could. She stared at Yukari with slit eyes. I'll say it again. Masaki didn't ask us here. We came by ourselves to see him. Then send them back, Masaki-kun. You know you're easily swayed. You'll forget about me if you spend too much time with them. You always try to keep a distance from me. That's because you think it's kind. That's because you think it's better for both of us. But you try to fill that void with something else. See? Now that Towada-senpai and Shiro-sama are here with you, I already don't matter as much to you anymore. Wait a second. You're selfishly demanding whatever you want, but you forget that we have no reason at all to let you get away with it. I thought you would understand. We love Masaki-kun. I wasn't even somebody that Masaki-kun would notice from the crowd. I'm just a regular nobody. I don't have any special powers, and I don't have his child. I don't even have any time left. The only thing I have in my advantage is that both of you let me stay closer to him. The only thing I have in my advantage is that both of you let me stay close to him. Are you saying that you're going to take that away from me too? Shiro and Yuki looked lost for words. Perhaps they had never been ranted at before, and they didn't know how to handle it. Yukari balled her hands into fists. She was trembling. What? Was I supposed to keep my promise? Walk to her and say something kind? I felt my aggression fade. I guess I failed. Before I could ask what she meant, she turned around and fled. Her footsteps sounded loud as she ran down the stairs. The three of us were left speechless, staring at the open door. Run after her. Leave her be. Two voices quarreled in my head. Gradually, one gave way. If I hadn't hardened myself, I would have run after her, but I chose not to. Aren't you going after her? Yuki asked. You shouldn't leave a girl alone like that, you know. I almost stood up, but I stopped myself. Why wasn't I going after her? Even Yuki and Shiro thought it was the right thing to do. But I couldn't do it. Yukari was an attractive girl. I needed one more push, and I would run after her to catch her in my arms. And just like that, she would forgive me and everything would be alright. Arrogant, I know, but I was certain it was true. Because watching her like that was like watching myself, the defenseless party. I needed to put in a little effort, and I would have her in my palm. But Oh, I see. Masaki? Was it Shiro or Yuki that called my name? Hey, are you all having dinner here tonight? We heard Mami-chan calling from downstairs. It doesn't matter. I suppose that's a good answer to that question. I'm going to end this off here. I hope you all enjoy that. My name is Dragonite, and I will see you all later.